this show going, man.
Hurry up, hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
Hurry up!
Come on now. We're going to have action soon. Right here. It ain't going nowhere.
Boy, yeah, you got some technique, boy. You ain't show me that this summer.
Hey, Wildcat.
Ball at the 5, third down and 2.
That was bad.
Let's go have some fun, bro. We ain't got to talk about too much.
He wasn't playing the ball.
It's holding.
Cliff. The Cliff. How is that not called?
That ain't going to call a damn thing.
What is the delay for? He's standing right there.
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper.
It's that close? Dear Lord.
Hello and welcome. Actually, I should do it like this.
ready.
What?
I wasn't ready.
Well, what do you need to do to be ready?
Go.
I should have gone, hello and welcome. Like that, should I?
No.
A Halloweeny welcome.
No, it's Thanksgiving now. It's Thanksgiving now, man.
I've missed it.
Basically, stores are selling Christmas decorations now. Basically, holly and jolly.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh,
It's happening here already.
Oh, yeah, since October.
Yeah.
Christmas decorations. You wait, they'll break out the Easter eggs in a minute.
Where I'm from, school starts in September where I'm from, and they're selling school supplies in July. And any opportunity they get to make money, they're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
G,
warm
welcome. Schepps, warm welcome.
Hello, Shepsy.
Hey, what's that? I'm wearing my Nick Mullins jersey right now. For some of you who've watched the 49ers game, you know what I'm talking about. Dude, 3 touchdowns last night, 262 yards, 151.9 QB rating. I don't know if that's just the Raiders or if he's just that good.
He's got something. Don't take his news away from him, Sheps.
I've got that written at the top of my news, but I was going to say...
Have you got at the top of your news that the Raiders are absolute... I was going to swear, and I just can't because it's just so
I can tick the box on the pod in this situation. In a moment of madness, just minutes before kickoff, I changed my weekly pick'em because I had the 49ers selected and I changed to the Raiders because I thought to myself, nah, come on, the 49ers are a steaming pile. The Raiders are going to win. Boy, was I stupid.
You obviously you have not watched the Raiders at all this season.
Are you kidding? I've watched every single minute and
You have seriously cursed them.
I have not
Since
cursed
you've
them.
moved across, the curse has gone from the Chargers and is now squarely sitting upon... Raiders.
Let's move to happier times and more alcoholic ones. Drinks of the pod. G, you brought me a Stockdale Brewing Company Chop Shop Pale Ale. It's actually not bad. Now you have.
I don't know. Holgate Brewhouse. I have no idea where that is. It just had chocolate written on it, so I bought it. So I don't usually drink beer.
A chocolate porter.
Well, it was in the season. It's Halloween. You're drinking chocolate beer. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. It's got coffee, caramel, hint of vanilla. Yeah, it's okay.
Didn't someone recommend the chocolate porter?
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I could be.
It's like most things. Everything's an acquired taste. So I'm not a beer drinker. So, yeah, look, I don't mind the sort of bittery, chocolatey aftertaste.
Yeah.
It's the initial bit that I don't like.
Now, boys, before we go into anything else, tell us about your Halloween, Sheps.
Ooh, it was a banger, man. It was a banger. My daughter dressed up as Cinderella, and my son dressed up as a Charizard, and we have this street called Murray Avenue, where it's like 3 blocks, where everybody in our town. I don't live in a huge town, Goshen, New York, so it's not that big, but everybody in town goes down this street. That's what we did, and it was pretty lit. So that was my Halloween. How about you guys?
Well, listen, Halloween is starting to build some momentum over here. As you know, we know nothing about Halloween. We've got no connection to it whatsoever. It's really a bit of a mystery, apart from the fact that, our kids are kind of motivated to collect what they say candy. And I'm like, what are you talking about, candy? Chocolate, sweets. Yeah, anyway. Use an Australian term.
You don't call it candy?
No. We call it chocolate, lollies. We call it. We're English.
But like, what do you?
But then again, so are you guys
I understand.
as well,
but what about if you wanted to put them in a cluster, in a group? What group would you put chocolate and lollies in?
Probably lollies.
Teeth decay. Dentist bills.
Really?
Now,
Interesting.
a couple of a street away from G's place.
You came into my street.
I did.
Yes.
Is a parent who, for a few years
Did she look like the mum that came to my door?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ooh,
I did mention that to you.
Yeah. Now, so what she does, she letter drops a few streets around
She
your
does. Yeah, she's
vicinity.
fantastic. Yeah, it's my son's best mate, his mum.
Yep.
And they like full on. The house is like seriously, because I was going to say, but they're right into like they go to America every year. They love the States. They're right into American football. Unfortunately, they follow the Patriots, but let's not hold that against them. Yeah, they just love the whole Halloween thing.
And so people have got a sign out so you know which houses to knock on.
She drops out pamphlets to all the streets in the area and saying if you want to participate in giving out candy, could you just either put an orange ribbon or this in the front of your house so people know that they can come and knock on your door, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And there was quite a turnout this year.
There was.
So it was quite a crowd.
Mate, I reckon I had, I don't know. I did see Memphis put he sent me a photo of his son's hall, and I have never seen anything like that in my entire life.
Big.
Oh, mate, it was a metre in diameter.
Get out.
It was huge. Our kids come home with a little bucket full of stuff.
Gee, what were you wearing?
I was just wearing like a pumpkin head.
No.
Pumpkin mask.
What were you wearing on your body?
A dress?
Yes.
Covered in blood. Because it was sort of like I quickly threw it together and I had like bandages with blood all over it and a pumpkin head. But I wasn't going to do anything. It was a last minute thing. It was something that was left over from, Carrie, the movie. Yes. A friend of mine dressed up as Carrie, the movie, and like with the wig with blood all over it. And it's pretty cool. And so I just threw that on and I did have one little kid, no more than probably 4 years old, say, "What are you wearing?" So I had to explain it was a dress, and I had to go through the whole explanation of what I just told you there, and so she understood why a man was wearing a dress.
Right. Okay.
Wait. You went through that full explanation to a 4-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when her parents are standing over there and there's some guy's giving their daughter candy wearing a dress, you're probably better off going through the whole explanation, mate, I believe.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
Can I tell you about the mum?
Go for it. Look, it wasn't just kids dressing up.
No, it wasn't just kids dressing up. One of the mums, she got dressed up and she wore the nurse's outfit. Now, granted, it was tight fitting, which was great, but it was classy, like lengthwise, because she's walking around the street with kids. You can't be wearing it,
No.
whether or not you'd been waxing or not. But
Beg your pardon?
she was standing at the near the front of my house, and she saw me at the door, and she's gone, maybe I'll go get some candy.
That's what you think she
No, that's
thought.
what she said.
She really?
That's what she said. And then she came up, so she got 2 pieces.
So she saw a man in a woman's costume with the pumpkin head.
And she said, I want a piece of that.
And she thought to herself, I want some of that.
Yeah.
She actually said, maybe I'll get some candy.
Maybe I'll go get a piece of candy is exactly the words that came out of her mouth.
All right. So anyway, yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah.
My girls had they didn't collect as much as you said Randy's son got, but like a small haul. There wasn't sort of that many houses involved. It was just...
There's enough to make you sick.
Certainly. Guys, news. Let's talk some news. And I was going to lead with, Schepps has already kind of blown my cover, but I was going to say, either of you guys know who Nick Mullins is? Well, I think the NFL world knows who Nick Mullins is now. He finished, as you said, Schepps, with 16 of 22 for 262 yards, 3 TDs, a 151.9 passer rating. The Niners won 34-3.
What was his fantasy points?
Oh, heaven knows. And you know what? In one league where, sadly, my quarterbacks are Jameis Winston and CJ Beathard, when I saw that Beathard wasn't starting, I benched him and thought, I'll have to sort that out later, but I didn't go and pick up Mullins, which would have been... But, what do? You don't pick up a guy that's the third-string quarterback and shove him in your lineup?
I wouldn't.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, anyway.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't realise who started, and I started Goodwin. And if I knew that,
yeah,
hell no.
Yeah.
So what have I ended up with?
Kittle went off.
Yeah, Kittle
yes.
had a day out, didn't he?
You see that one-handed? He had a one-handed catch where he kind of.
But that
wasn't the
poor tackling. Those
prettiest
Schepps.
thing. He kind of corraled it, brought it into his body and just took off like a dart down the field.
Yeah, but that's poor tackling. He should have been wrapped up by at least 2 blokes straight away.
Yeah, but it's also concentration to be in the middle of all that and still be able to haul that ball in. It was impressive.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's not worried about whether or not he's going to get tackled. Or he can, or
No,
the
it was
concentration
across
just
the middle of the
football.
field.
Yep.
Yeah, he was vulnerable, and he took it in. And then later, I kind of, being a football player as well as watching football my whole life, like seeing somebody take you down the field and then watching somebody else score has always been kind of frustrating. So seeing them feed him after he got them down there, they gave him a little swing pass, and he scored a touchdown. That was kind of cool.
Nice. Now, during the week, guys, Hugh Jackson became the first head coach to be fired. He was also joined by Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator.
Won't be the last.
Interestingly,
Gruden might be there, but might cost him $100 million to do it.
Interestingly,
you think? Imagine.
No, it's not going to happen. No, not this year. No. Hugh.
There must be an out clause. There has to be an out clause, please.
Interestingly, Hugh described the firing as premature, which is like, excuse me, premature. I think it's late, like way late. Greg Williams is now the interim head coach of the Browns.
Bounty scandal, Greg Williams.
Yes. Jameis Winston's been benched in favour of Fitzmagic for the upcoming game against the Panthers. He called the move humbling, but he also called it a minor setback, and I tend to think it's more than a minor setback. It's kind of a serious thing.
How are you reading this one, Schepps?
Man, I don't know. He's so young. I don't think he's that talented. And obviously you have that quarterback situation there. And then the quarterback who came in, he comes in and he balls out. But I do think that franchise is kind of a mess. I don't think it's as messy as some of the messiest franchises in the NFL. But when you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right? That's the saying. And I think they're just going to juggle between the two. Fitzpatrick's going to play bad. They'll put him in, and I think it's going to go back and forth. I don't think they're going to give him a long-term contract. I think eventually, I heard somebody say this. I think it was last year, and it was one of the funniest things I heard all year. They said, I hope Tampa takes better care of Josh Freeman this time around. I thought that was funny. So I think he's just going to phase out once they're done with him.
Do you know the Bucks have never signed a quarterback that they've drafted to a second contract?
Really?
Never.
What, they've been around since the 80s, right?
Yep.
So it's still awkward. It's still strange.
They've never done it. It's just they just never done it. And I don't think it's going to happen this time. He's not there. He's not there next year.
There's a pretty historic quarterback class that's going to be coming out within the next 2 years. I don't think it's not this year. It might not be next year, but the year after that with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, maybe Fromm. So if you need a quarterback, it's not this year, might not be next year because I think Tua's coming out next year. But the class after that, this kid Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, he is a bad man.
He's a bad man.
What's he done?
Yes. He's just watch him.
Rob Liquor's doors or
he's a dude. He is. It's like Andrew Luck all over again. It's a home run. This kid is a home run. He's a franchise quarterback. It's the easiest pick any team's going to make that year.
Nice. The Rams remain the only undefeated team at 8-0. It's their best start since 1969. That year they went 11-3 and they lost in the divisional round. But a question for you, gents: has a team ever started 8-0 and missed the playoffs?
I would say yes, just because I feel like you wouldn't ask that question if it was an easy answer. So I'm going to say yes.
G?
I'm going to use the reverse of the reverse.
What's that?
I'm going to say no.
Correct, no.
Got me. You got
never
me.
missed the playoffs. Just a few points of comparison. So the 2009 Broncos started 6-0. They finished 8-8 and missed the playoffs. Incidentally, that was Josh McDaniels' tenure as head coach. He then
Case Keenum wasn't there then, was he?
The Broncos nosedived to
Can't blame for that.
3-15 over the next 18 games under his quote-unquote leadership. The 2009 New York Giants started 5-0 and they finished 8-8 and missed the playoffs. The 1996 Washington Redskins started 7-1 and then finished 9-7 and missed the playoffs. But 100% of teams who have started 8-0 have made the playoffs. So, happy news. The Chiefs are next at 7-1, by the way. Okay.
And then they brought in Dante Fowler. Not that dude's a wrecking ball, but still. And they're adding to their team. They're already 8-0, and they're adding.
The defense hasn't been what it was at the start of the year. Teams have been running the ball on them.
They have.
And last week, they got gashed a number of times and straight up the guts, too.
But they're 8-0.
When you start getting to games that if you lose, you're out,
yes,
then it might matter.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships.
It does. Oh, that's pretty good. I've never heard that before.
Use that. Can I write that down?
Yeah, that's good.
Defense.
Should patent that.
Yeah.
Now, guys, we're going to do similar format. Actually,
mate, he won't come back on the pod if we keep doing that to him. He hasn't been on for a few weeks. He's not filling up his 50% quota.
We just hit the 50% yard mark of the year, so I can make it up.
There we go. Right. Now, same format as last week where we went from game to game. We split the games up between the three of us. So, Schepps, you can lead off, all right? You pick any game, lead off, you go through your spiel, and then we'll add to whatever you've said.
All right, so let me start out with the Broncos versus the Texans, which is an interesting matchup because now you have Demaryius Thomas, who is washed up, that they got a fifth for, which is nice. Is he going to have his one good, decent game of the year, against his old team? That's interesting. And now you also have the emergence of Cortland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton. I know Hamilton's been a little dinged up. I know Sutton's been, balling for given the situation he's in. So now are we going to see, one of those two break out this week? And then also going back to Thomas, is it going to be Thomas or is it going to be Kiki Kuti? Someone's got to take the place for Will Fuller, after he went down. So somebody's got to step up. I don't think it's Thomas because I don't think Thomas fits that Will Fuller mold. So if Kuti is available, I think it's him because he's a field stretcher. Thomas, he's definitely lost a step. Thomas is more of a tight end, I would think. Obviously he's not going to do the tight end's job of blocking, but he's a chain mover at this point, And then Philip Lindsay, man, you start him. You start him every week. He's getting the job done, especially in PPR.
Oh, he's a boo 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 boo. That's what it sounds like when he's moving. You can hear it coming through the TV. Don't you agree, Schepps?
And too bad they didn't invite him to the combine, so his time wasn't measured. Maybe people would have known that he can move like that.
Oh, and look, I just might chip in with, if you don't watch the games, you don't see the bloody runs come back because of holding calls.
Last week he had two, I think maybe like around about a 20 and at least a 25, 27 yards, something around there. Both of them got called back. It's like that doesn't even show up anywhere.
No.
So add that onto your day.
But what's frustrating is he'll rip off one of those, it'll be a holding penalty to come back, then they'll give it to Devontae Booker to run 2 yards. It's like, are you kidding?
I think Devontae Booker, actually, I don't know about you, Schepps, but he ran a little bit better last week because I think, mate, Freeman ain't doing anything.
No.
And I think he figures, mate, if I don't step up here, I'm definitely gone. And no one might come and pick me up either.
Right.
So he looked a bit better. He ran a lot harder last week, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what Cortland Sutton can do.
Oh.
And he might come up a bit later in one of our new segments.
Look, I don't think DT is completely out of gas, and you know what? He's going to have a better quarterback throwing him the ball. He's
washed.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Kuti like everyone is, and I think this hurts his value, sadly. Because without Will Fuller there, it was like, yes, this is a real bump for Kuti, but now it's a bit like, I don't know if it really is really the best.
I just think they play different roles in that offense.
They do. Yeah.
I do believe that he's pretty much, from what I've seen this year so far, and I really watched him last. I don't know why I was watching him more last week, because I had no idea this was coming down.
Yeah.
But he just looked. There was one play actually where they threw a ball to him in the end zone like a jump ball, and I thought, why? And my kids, Noah's looking at me going, Dad, why are you swearing at the computer screen? Why are you throwing a jump ball to Thomas? Like, who designed... This is why Vance Joseph's gone. This is his last year. He might not even see the season out. Why do you play design so that when you have a guy on the other side of the field at, what is he, 6'4"?
Yep.
Mate, he can jump small buildings in a single bound. No, he seriously can.
He's very impressive,
And you're throwing the jump ball to Thomas.
Yeah.
Throw it to the other side of the end zone to where Cortland Sutton is, or take Thomas off and puts Cortland Sutton on, mate, because he will come down with that ball. So that is, one, the quarterback's fault. Oh, I suppose he's just doing what he's told to do. But whoever called the play and allows it to go, and Vance Joseph the last person that has a say in things, that was just like, oh my God, that's just what a waste.
Hey, a quick question. Cortland Sutton or Calvin Ridley?
I take Ridley because I like the guy who creates the most space, because I think that's the easiest for a quarterback. And I think Sutton needs less space because he has a wider range. But give me the route runner.
What are we talking? Are we talking dynasty? Are we talking just for the end of the year? Or?
No, dynasty.
I was talking NFL. I'm sorry. I didn't. I was talking like my own personal team. Yeah. I'd rather Ridley. But go on.
No. That's tough, because I think Sutton's going to really come on.
Sutton, I don't know. They're both kind of in a similar situation.
Probably Ridley because
Sanders,
of the position he plays. Schepps, don't you agree? He plays the role where you're going to be targeted more.
Yeah, and I mean they both have that guy. Julio. So Emmanuel Sanders isn't Julio Jones, but he's still the guy opposite who is the one. So I think I don't know. I might take Sutton because the drop off between Sanders and Sutton is far less than between Julio and Ridley. I don't know. I think it's definitely something interesting to monitor for the rest of the year. I think it's going to be interesting to see which one of them outplays the other.
Well, let's keep this moving, guys.
Yep.
G, you go to your first game.
All right, I'm going to go with my boy,
Paddy.
Okay. Mayhem. We
Mayhem
don't call him Paddy. We just call him Mayhem.
Mahomes.
Mayhem. Browns versus the Chiefs. So we'll go to the Browns offense first, and we'll look at the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are giving up quarterback. Mate, they have really come on the Chiefs on their defense. On seasonal, they've been 26th in fantasy, and now they're 13th over the last 4 weeks.
Wow.
Running backs 31 to 24. It's not that huge of a difference. Wide receiver 16 to 14. Tight end 27 to 22nd in fantasy wise. So, mate, but we go Baker Mayfield, number 27 as far as quarterbacks go. He's averaging 14.7 fantasy points a game, and he's at home this week. In his other 2 home starts, he had 17.9 versus the Ravens, a good defense, and 12.3 versus the Chargers. So, mate, this whole week for the Browns, comes down to what do they look like now that Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley's gone? And was I wrong in saying that? Did Mayfield say that he's not really upset that Hugh Jackson's gone? Did I read that, or have I just skimmed something and not seen it properly?
I didn't hear that. I'd be surprised if he said that, though.
You would be?
Yeah.
You say whatever you want. He's gone. He's never coming back.
I know, but it's a bit like kick the guy on the way out.
Look for,
no.
Yeah.
Okay. So, mate, we got 6 teams on bye. Mate, there's a good chance that you might, they're going to have to be throwing the ball to keep up with the Chiefs. And look, the Chiefs have shown that, and we'll get round to them in a minute. So, if you're looking for more of a second half high ceilings type thing, and we've seen Baker Mayfield do that on a number of occasions already this year, that they've scored nothing in the first half, and he's come out and started hurling that round and putting up some numbers and coming back. Nick Chubb, he's averaging 6.1 yards a carries, 52 carries for 318 yards, and the Chiefs are giving up 5.3 yards per carry, which is the third most in the NFL.
Nice.
Mate, there's no one behind who they got. Duke Johnson and... Mate, fair dinkum. I went through his touches, and, mate, they are at a seriously bare minimal.
Criminally
underused. Martha, was it Martha Hubbard? Who's the cupboard? This bear? What's the nursery rhyme?
Is that Martha Hubbard?
I have no... Is it Martha Hubbard? I've got... Mate, it's been a long time.
I don't know.
I'm getting on 50. So, look, Duke Johnson, he's got no one behind him. Duke Johnson, did you start him?
Risky.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry, of course. Look, he's ranked 28th in standard and 18th in PPR. And only 3 times this year has he gone over 10 fantasy points.
Really?
Yeah, which is quite unusual.
High floor.
The ceiling hasn't been that great this year. He's only averaging, 14.5 PPR points and only 8.4 standard. So,
Okay.
Antonio Callaway's another one. Had a big week 2, 81 and 1 TD. Week 8 had the 36 and 1 TD last week. And the other one you have to look at, obviously, is David Njoku, who's number 11 in PPR for tight ends, averaging 10.4.
He let me down last week.
He let me down too, Sheps. He's not the only one. But he's seconds in targets on the team. Mate, 0 targets last week.
Yeah.
Not even targets and then catch the ball. Just
You've got to play
nothing.
the guy, though. You've got no choice.
No, you haven't. And the Chiefs are giving up 74.5 yards per game to tight ends. So let's move across to the Chiefs side. And the Browns, as far as where they rank on the fantasy, giving away totals, look, they're pretty much the same all across the board. So they've been pretty consistent. If you're going to take them in fantasy, it's probably at the running back mark, where over the last 4 weeks, they're the 30th in giving up numbers to running backs, fantasy points. So, mate, it's pretty easy, isn't it? Patrick Mahomes, number 1, averaging 27.1 a game. He's the 4th player in NFL history to go 3 games in a row with 4 TDs. And I goddamn can't think of the third guy, but Peyton Manning's 1, Dan Marino's 2, and if someone knows who the third one was, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Tony Romo?
There's our Cowboys bit. Hunt, start him. Number 4 in running backs. Number 6 in PPR. Just killing it. Seriously killing it. Look, Spencer Ware, not going to start him or put him in your team, but
He gets points.
go and put him on
Every week.
Go and stick him on your bench. He's probably one of the best handcuffs going around.
My word.
As in far as if the starter goes down.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, keep an eye on that. He's got the groin injury. Sammy Watkins is starting. Travis Kelce is starting. Look, this offense, you're playing everybody, and this is why. This season they've put up 38, 42, 38, 27, 30, 40 in a loss, 45 and 30. Mate, there's no need for Oliver Twist to come up and say, please, sir, I want some more, because you're seriously just being a greedy pig. Done.
Okay.
All right.
Whew, man.
I need a drink.
You deserve one after that. Well, boys, let me take you back to an ancient matchup. This one has been going on for centuries. Vikings and Lions. In the early BC times, the Lions dominated this matchup when the Vikings strayed down to Africa. But
Did they go that far?
well, strayed. I did say strayed down.
That's
to
a long way to stray.
So
How do you stray 10,000 cars? I don't know.
It was a storm.
I have no
I don't know.
how it is, but anyway.
Who knows?
Didn't they notice it was getting really hot?
It's history.
And they got all those furs on.
It's a fact.
Damn, this is hot down here.
Now, Vikings and Lions. Let's start on the Lions
This is
side.
why Sheps doesn't come on, because we just
That's
go
right. That's right. That's right. Matty Stafford. Now, he's coming off a nice game. He's going to have his hands full on the road against a good pass D. Minnesota's been stingy against opposing quarterbacks. Their only blemish is Jared Goff, who threw 5 touchdown passes against him. But apart from that, they've allowed just 1 or less passing touchdowns in 6 of their 8 last games. Now, obviously, Golden Tate is gone. But he gone. Kenny Galladay, now he's coming off a quiet game, but it's not a bad matchup, and he's always capable of putting up nice numbers, and obviously you're going to play him. And I think also Marvin Jones, I think the Tate exit probably helps Marvin Jones, honestly. He's coming off a big game. He's inconsistent, but I think with Tate out now, Jones is much more reliable. Carry on. Thank goodness they actually drafted a running back.
Gosh.
He does face a tough run D this week, but his receiving skills give him the upper hand and allow him to put up solid numbers. Theo Riddick, you're not really considering, and LeGarrette Blount, you're not considering. A bit of a wild card, Brandon Powell. Now, he's a rookie, and he technically is slated to come into the Golden Tate role. Golden Tate Warrior. He's going to play.
Welcome to the NBA.
Yeah. Brandon Powell. So he is tentatively slated to come in. So he's a bit of a flyer off the way. You can pick him up off waivers and just see what happens.
Oh, mate, I love you. Kerryon Johnson is killing it. And anybody that starts, I'd say Matt Breida over someone like Kerryon Johnson doesn't deserve to be talking anything about fantasy football.
Well, man, look at that matchup.
I did tell you.
I was nervous.
You asked me. I told you.
And also, it was a cushy Raiders matchup. And Breida dropped the ball last night, man.
Dude,
I spelled it out to you, didn't I?
So.
What did I tell you? Look at his second half numbers. He ain't on the field, and he's got that dodgy ankle.
Did you see what happened to Mostert?
Yeah, fractured his arm.
Oh my gosh, bad too, bad.
Now, another thing in Brandon Powell's corner is the fact that you've got to think, if they traded Tate, they must have been comfortable with who they're going to put in his place. I don't expect Golden Tate
Marvin
numbers.
Jones, you ever seen the that meme of Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man?
Yeah.
That's Marvin Jones and Golden Tate, I think. They're as close as
Piece of the pod.
Yeah.
Let's
go to the Vikings side now. The Cuz. He's certainly got the weapons. He's facing a strong pass D. He still has two of the best receiving weapons in football, and he's a QB1. There's no doubt there. Detroit ranks 14th in the league against opposing fantasy quarterbacks, so it's decent for him. Latavius Murray. Now, Dalvin Cook, I don't think he's going to play. No. If he is going to play, then you park him on your bench. Don't even go there, because they've got the bye in week 10, I believe. So I think it's probably just going to be a case of them resting him till after the bye. And so Latavius Murray is balling. So you play that guy. If you've got him, you play him.
I have been.
How mad are you if you drafted Dalvin Cook?
Oh.
About as mad as the guy that drafted Le'Veon Bell.
Or Leonard Fournette.
AJ?
Yes.
Luckily, I don't touch the three of those guys, so I don't have to worry about it.
Unless you also picked up Murray, who's been really nice insurance. He's been producing well the last 3 weeks. He finds himself in the same position again. Detroit's run D is improved. They do, of course, have Snacks Harrison in their lineup now. And you know what his favourite meal will be this week?
I think he likes Halloween.
Latavius Murray on rye. And hold the rye.
That's not a snack.
To him it is.
Meal.
To him it's a snack.
Entree.
And entree. Adam Thielen. Jeez. Man, could we just go back? Could we go back to the off-season and say, hey, all you fantasy peeps, Adam Thielen is going to be the number one wide receiver. We'd look like geniuses. I wish we
would look crazy then.
Probably. Not now. Stephon Diggs.
Mate, there were a lot of people, and I don't think I really rated him to do what he's done this year, but a lot of people were sort of like, hey, come on, no, Adam Thielen? Nah.
Yeah.
I didn't draft him anywhere.
No.
Neither have I. And I think if you don't draft him in as many leagues as we play in, that pretty much says that
we didn't think much of him.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Then
again, sometimes guys just don't fall your way.
Or we rated others ahead of him.
And he's also got Diggs opposite of him.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me about Diggs. Is he playing?
Yeah.
I need him to play.
I believe
after my disaster wide receiver today.
He's a little dinged up, though. But Thielen and Diggs look like they're going to be a go. You don't really touch anyone else. Kyle Rudolph, of course, because he's a tight end and he's healthy. So, okay, let's keep going. Schepps, who you got next?
All right, who do I have next? I have the Bills versus the Bears. All right, this is a tasty, juicy matchup. I was so glad when I was given this matchup.
Hey, all these matchups were given in order. I just put a name down, and I give you your own team, and then after that, everything was in order.
The first thing I wrote was yuck. That's the first thing I wrote. Allen Robinson is hurt. Don't expect him to play this week.
And then, geez, a prick for giving me this game.
Trey Burton, start him. Tariq Cohen, start him. Jordan Howard's killing me. He's killing me because I was.
I listened to you.
When you're wrong, you're wrong. And 2 years ago, man, I was screaming at everybody about how they're underrating Jordan Howard. Now Tariq Cohen isn't going to take his job. I was wrong. I'm upset about it because I think Howard can get the job done, but the Bears don't see him that way. So start Cohen, start Trey Burton, sit Howard, sit A-Rob. I think I'm going to bench Mitch Trubisky this week against the Bills because I think the Bills' defense is actually pretty decent. I think they could give him a hard time. So, man, that's it. I don't even have anything to say about the Bills' offense.
No, you can't. Same problem last week, mate. When we sat down here, who do you start?
More time with this. Yeah.
No.
They suck.
They are terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's good. We need some quick ones because we're probably going long.
All right.
So that's good.
Okay. Move along.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got the Panthers and the Bucks. Jeepers. We'll go the Panthers offense and the Bucks fantasy. What they're giving up is just an absolute. This is the team you want to be playing against at the moment outside of the Falcons. The Bucks are like in the last 4 weeks 30th against quarterbacks, 22nd against running backs, 28th against wide receivers, and 24th against tight ends. So, mate, you pretty much start Newton, McCaffrey, Funchess, DJ Moore. I don't know about Torrey Smith, Curtis Samuels, or Jarius Wright. Look, Greg Olsen, I gave him a bit of a caning a couple of weeks ago about just how he looked on the field with his ankle. And then he's gone and said, screw you, G, I'm going to score 2 touchdowns in the following 2 weeks, which he's done. But if you look at him, he did a slight cut last week to get a bit of a buffer. But outside of that, man, he's a tight end, and we know what the wasteland is for tight ends. So, of course, you're starting him. But, mate, how good does Cam Newton look at the moment? Absolutely fantastic. In the last 3 weeks, he's chucked up 23.3, 25.6, and 27.9 fantasy points. And, mate, back-to-back wins over 2 very good defenses in the Eagles and the Ravens, sorry. So, yeah, they're all the guys you start. And, look, someone else we're talking about who's on this team we'll talk about a little bit later in another segment. So we'll flip across to the Bucks. And, look, the Panthers' D has been fantastic over the last 4 weeks. Look, it's the same as the seasonal numbers. 15 against quarterbacks, 9th against running backs, 9th against wide receivers. And if anything, it's probably tight ends that are hurting them a little bit. I suppose with the 3 linebackers are good linebackers, but just unable to go with the tight ends they've been up against so far. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the question is, mate, honestly, do you start him? Well, you probably do, because there's, these are the guys who are on buys this week. You got Dalton, Wentz, Bortles, Eli, Luck, and Rosen. So you're definitely starting him over Bortles, Eli, and Rosen. You start him over them whether or not they were playing or not. It's just, mate, it's just, how do you know? He's still ranked number 19 amongst quarterbacks, even though he missed like 3 games. And we saw what he did in his first 3 weeks: 42 fantasy points, almost 30 fantasy points, and 25. You have to roll him out in a week with 6 quarterbacks missing. Behind him, you have out of the backfield, you have Peyton Barber, who's to me is no more than a flex option. But if you go and have a look at everybody's numbers that play when Fitzpatrick was playing, mate, it is night and day.
Really?
Oh, without a doubt, except for Peyton Barber. He's probably
even Humphreys. Humphreys is. I think Humphreys had a big week last week, so he's interesting.
Mate, they all are. Mike Evans, the leading target in the team. He's number 8th in standard, number 10th wide receiver in PPR, averaging 20.7 in PPR. And look, in the past 3 weeks, well, the first 3 weeks actually with Fitzpatrick, he was 19.7, 12.3, 20.7. All TDs in all those weeks. Didn't score a TD with Jameis. What happens as soon as Jameis goes off and Fitzmagic comes on? Bang. He lights up. So you're definitely starting Mike Evans, obviously, with Fitzmagic. You're definitely starting Deshaun Jackson, who wanted to be traded after Fitzpatrick got pretty much benched. He had 2 huge games with at the start of the year, 164-2 and 129-1. Chris Godwin is the red zone bandit when Fitzmagic is on. 41 and 1 TD, 56 and 1 TD, 74 and 1 TD, always fits, done nothing with Jameis. OJ Howard exactly the same, had his best numbers with... actually, that's a lie. I lie there, because OJ Howard's probably be the one consistent player on the offense, no matter who the quarterback's been. So I'll correct myself on that. And Cameron Brake, well, he's obviously going to be the loser here.
I was hoping Dallas would trade for him. We could have used a guy like Cameron Brake.
Why wouldn't you, though? In the position that they're in, OJ Howard's,
No idea.
mate, he's balling at the moment.
He
He's
is.
doing really well. Why wouldn't you just trade away Cameron Brayton and get something for him while you can?
Yeah.
No idea.
All right, now we've all got our share of stinking piles of...
I didn't. I made sure I got the good stuff.
Because now this week, I think picking games to watch is going to be actually quite easy because there's some terrible ones. And this, I think, is in that category. It's Dolphins v Jets. Let's start on the Jets side because it'll be fairly quick. I'm obviously still a fan of Sam Darnold. He's a rookie. He's cooled off of late. It's a solid matchup. He might bounce back a little bit, but he just doesn't have anyone to throw to. This is kind of a problem. Which means the Jets are really going to go hard on the ground game, so that limits his value. Isaiah Crowell hasn't been great lately, but I think he's got a chance to bounce back here against the Finns. And a bit of a wild card coming in, he's just been activated off IR, and he is going to play, is Elijah Maguire. He is back. Bilal Powell's on IR. Now, the Jets quietly really love the talent of Eli Maguire. He flashed at the end of last year. I remember in our Jets preview, G...
I'm not listening, mate. I'm going picking him up.
I remember in our Jets preview, and I hate, obviously, comparisons like this are, kind of pointless, but they do like his talent to be a little bit like LT. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the draft capital of LT, but this is a guy who can come in and perform, so it'll be interesting to watch him. Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, they're both banged up. Look, I don't even know if they're going to play. I think they might, but they're both not healthy. Jermaine Kearse. No, you're playing none of these guys, basically. You're not playing any of them. All right. Finns. Brock Osweiler. No. Don't do it.
I'm doing it.
No.
I have drafts him for this week. I have Eli Manning on the bench, and really he's been... I probably could have started Schepps, and he would have given me more fantasy points than Eli Manning.
That's why I traded for Cam Newton, because Eli's a bum.
Yes. So I went out and I thought, well, judging by what's on my bench and the possible score they could put up, and I think they're not going to do that much for me, the guys, I thought, mate, I could do with if I got 10 out of him, I'd be happy. Compared to what's on my bench,
I guess.
I'm looking at it that way in a 2-quarterback league.
Yeah.
If you're looking at your bench and going, I don't think that guy's going to do much, these guys are going to do much for me, why not? He could get me 10, 12, 15.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
Okay. The only person you're probably...
So I'm the only one probably he's gone and picked up.
Yeah. I was going to say, the only person you're probably playing, although you might be playing some other guys in a more desperation kind of mode, but Kenyon Drake... I mean, he's still in a committee.
He's had some good weeks.
But he's had some good weeks. And it's a good matchup.
Looked great last week.
Week. So you play him. Frank Gore, I think Drake's pulled ahead of him. You're probably not going to play Gore now. Kenny Stills is dealing with an injured groin.
Yeah, no.
And he's been disappointing of late. No. Risky play.
Don't start him.
Amendola's not really producing enough to justify starting him. Devontae Parker had a good week last week, but again, that's kind of a desperation play. There's not really anyone else. I was going to say Mike Gesicki if you're super desperate just because he's a tight end. What else? I don't know. There's not much in this game, to be honest.
Okay.
That's it. What's the next game you got, Schepps?
Cowboys Titans. That's the save the best for last because we're doing Ravens Steelers together.
Okay.
So Cowboys have the top run defense, one of the top run defenses in the NFL. So I see, I normally don't read the start-em, sit-em columns, but last night, because of my Matt Breida conundrum, I started to read a few of them. And I'm seeing Dean Lewis mentioned as a start-em everywhere. And I don't think that's smart. I don't think you start a Tennessee Titans running back in this game. Just because, especially, Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith are already doing well, but now you have Sean Lee healthy, especially after a bye week. So you got 3 of those guys. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball at all. Another question, I have now is who's the tight end for the Cowboys? Because we got Jeff Swain, who was the receiving tight end. He's hurt. He's done.
He's done.
Dalton, he's hurt. So now is it Dalton Schultz? Is it Rico Gathers? Who's going to pick up the slack that this guy's dropping? Gathers has caught a few balls this year, and he's looked electrifying when he's doing it, but I don't understand why he's not getting more targets and getting an opportunity to catch more passes.
Because Prescott's your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got Amari Cooper. They're probably going to force feed him the ball, so I'm interested to see. I've watched a few clips of him at practice, and it's just everything he does is so explosive.
What are you doing?
And we completely lack that on offense. Like our wide receivers, you watch them running routes in practice, and they're just everything looks so difficult. They really look like they're working hard. And then you watch this cat, and he's just he bursts off the line of scrimmage, just effortlessly. So I'm interested to see him. And then the one Titans player that I'm going to start this week is whoever it is that's playing their slot. Whoever their slot receiver is, that's the guy that you start. You don't start Corey Davis because Byron Jones is going to shut him down. So Cowboys have trouble against slot receivers. So that's the guy you start. That's my analysis.
Who is that?
I don't know. Is it Taylor?
Oh, it might be. Yeah.
Taywan Taylor.
It might be. Yeah. Hey, quick question for both you guys. In Dynasty, is Derrick Henry droppable?
We traded him. We got a draft pick.
I know we did.
We got a draft
no,
pick.
You don't draft. I'm thinking you're joking.
No, I'm not joking at all.
No, we traded him away. We got a draft pick.
You trade him. You don't drop him though.
No.
Okay,
There's too much.
What do you get for him? What are you after? Third?
A second.
A second? You reckon you get a second?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not selling him for less, based on the name alone.
That's all he's got at the moment.
What did we get? We got a second, didn't we? Don't tell me he gave us away for third.
I can't remember.
That was a
what
second. We got a second.
Did we get a second?
Yeah, we got a second.
Can't recall.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay.
Even the second would be hard to stomach because at this offseason, you could have traded him for firsts. Multiple firsts, So,
Yeah.
but if you want out that bad, I'm taking a second.
Okay. So I'm going to go my Falcons against the Redskins. And look, the Redskins have been, they started off very good against the pass. They were 17th and 19th against quarterbacks and wide receivers respectively. But in the last 4 weeks, they've dropped to 29th against QBs and 27th against wide receivers, but have become the number one run defense in fantasy.
Really?
Yes. So that being said, you probably go and start Matt Ryan, who at the moment is number 3 as far as quarterbacks, averaging 24.3 fantasy points. But he's only number 3. He'd be number 2 only for the sheer fact that he's only played 7 games and Andrew Luck has played 1 more game.
Okay.
And he's only ahead of him by 1.7 fantasy points. So everybody's been talking about how well Luck's doing. Well, Matt Ryan's only 1.7 behind.
I reckon quietly too.
Mate, he's just throwing touchdowns after touchdowns, So that gives it a really hard week for Tevin Coleman. But once again, we have the same conundrum that we've had this week. Is we've got 6 teams on bye, so that's
Conundrum. It's conundrum, kids. Okay, that's how you
what
say
did I
it.
say? Conundrum.
I don't
It's a
even-
conundrum.
something interesting.
It's a conundrum.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, please keep going.
So look, Tevin Coleman's probably a bit of a hard start this week, but you're probably going to have to do it against this matchup. And look, only twice this year has he's actually been under 10 fantasy points. So I'll give him that. Edo Smith, well, geez, that's no. You got to be seriously desperate to be starting Edo Smith. Julio Jones, yes, of course you're going to start him, mate. The TDs are seriously killing his value. So, mate, if he had 4, we've gone through 7 games. He's played 7 games. If you gave him 4, is that fair? 4 TDs in 7 games for Julio. That seems pretty reasonable, doesn't it? I'm not saying he's got 1 a game. If you gave him 4, he'd go from the number 16th wide receiver to the number 5. It's just really, only 3 times this year has he been under 100 yards, and one of those times it was at 96. Calvin Ridley, he's the highest ranking wide receiver, rookie wide receiver, ahead of Christian Kirk, and Ridley's at 19 and Kirk's at 40, so that tells you the separation difference at the moment. That's a tough one. Mohamed Sanu, mate, his floor's pretty low, but he can give you, good ceilings. He scored 11.6, 11.1, 13.3 and 10.6 out of the 7 games this year. So if you're looking for someone there, on the Redskins side of the ball, the Falcons, mate, you just start. They're just terrible. Alex Smith, he's been even worse. Alex Smith, he's been, as I said, he's the manager of a manager now. But then again, Eli Manning put up 399 yards in a TD against the Falcons, scored 20 fantasy points. So start him. Adrian Peterson. Ooh, mate, is he running good? This guy is running the opposite. Oh, mate, he's running the opposite direction to the cliff at the moment, isn't he? At his age. Chris Thompson, he's going to be a bit of a scratchy one. Came on the field last week. had the hurt ribs, and now he's hurt the other side. The ribs on the other side of the body, so who knows with that. But what a matchup for someone of his capabilities, his pass catching capabilities against the Falcons, who give up 8.9, almost 9 receptions a game to running backs. Just set up beautifully for him. Capri Bibbs, well, I don't think anybody's been starting him. As far as receivers go, you got Paul Richardson, Josh Doxson, and Morris Harris, which is probably a no. The only other guys to look at is Jordan Reed, who's the team leading receiver. They had 12 targets last week. Hasn't done a hell of a lot with the targets he's received so far. And, mate, Vernon Davis is pretty much a hope. If he gets 3 balls thrown his way, you got to hope for a touchdown pretty much. Done.
Okay, now, this is a good game. Here goes a good one. Seahawks Chargers. It's on the Seahawks side.
This was supposed to be Joey Bosa game, but he ain't even coming back yet.
No, I know.
What's up with him, man?
No idea. Is there a timetable on his return? Have you heard?
It was supposed to be all year. It was after the bye. So, and now it's not. So I don't know. He's kind of mysterious. You know, I don't know. He kind of pulled this stuff in college, so I don't know what's up with him.
And they keep their cards close to their chest because, I mean, originally it was just, you know, it was going to be back for week 1, and then it's just kind of dragged out, hasn't it? So,
yeah.
Okay. Russell Wilson, obviously you're playing him. He tossed 3 touchdown passes for the 3rd straight game last Sunday. He should post decent numbers against the Chargers D that's allowing 256 yards, 1.9 touchdowns per contest. And this game has got sneaky shootout potential as well. The over-under is sitting at 48 points. So that's looking good. Chris Carson seems to have grabbed the running back job, at least for now. He's coming off a big game. You can probably put the other guys, Mike Davis and Rashad Penny. Who's Rashad Penny?
He's doing punt returns.
Yeah. Well,
mate, he did a punt return last week, seriously, and as he ran toward, he slowed up. Instead of like, I'm going to put my shoulders into this and put my head down and, you know, maybe bust through and, you know, get a couple of extra yards.
Yeah.
He almost came to a halt.
It's good value, isn't it? Use a first-round pick on a punt returner.
Don't even. So grateful I'm not a Seahawks fan with that.
Doug Baldwin is a risky play. He's dealing with a knee. He's been very inconsistent. I wonder if we'll see the Doug Baldwin of 2017 again. I don't know. Is this getting close to the end? Tyler Lockett has been a little inconsistent, but he's really the only receiver you can play. He can take the top off a D. He's been pretty decent. David Moore is a bit of a wild card, risky play. Obviously, he's a bit touchdown dependent. And Ed Dixon, a little bit of a flyer. He's not being used a lot. He didn't have bad numbers last week.
He scored a touchdown. What more do you want as a tight end?
Yeah, I know. He's a tight end.
Be happy with that.
So you play him. Yeah, exactly.
If a tight end touches the ball, you'd be happy with it.
My word. Chargers. Phillip Rivers, obviously, coming off their bye. It's a tough matchup going to Seattle. And the Seattle secondary is, the Seattle D is giving up the 4th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. So a little bit of a tough matchup. Now, Melvin Gordon, obviously he's balling this season. He's absolutely balling.
I don't give him enough credit. I feel like the fantasy world doesn't give him enough credit, man.
No.
He's like the hidden gem that just, I don't draft him anywhere. He could get the same award that Thielen's getting, you know, but he's been disrespected for longer than Thielen's been disrespected.
He definitely has. You're absolutely right. Now, he sat out at the last minute. He sat out the Week 7 match in London to rest his hammy, which got tight or whatever on the flight.
That's frustrating.
Yes.
And now, if that's a nagging injury, because that's what happened to Dan Bailey. I'm sure you guys don't care, but he was a kicker for the Cowboys who was a dude. He had like the highest kicking made percentage in NFL history. On a long flight, he pulled something, his back tightened up, and ever since then he lost his mojo. I don't know, or his hammy, something like happened on the flight, messed up his back, and now here he is. It's costing him dollars. So now I wouldn't be surprised if that lingers with Melvin Gordon. You know, it's frustrating.
Well, see, that's the big question, because if he's able to go, he's had 2 weeks off. If he's able to go, it's a bit of a tough task for the Seattle D. They only let Zeke get more than 80 rushing yards. That's the most successful running back there's been. Only 3 running backs managed to score against them. But obviously you play Melvin Gordon. Hopefully he's playing. Austin Eckler is flex-worthy. Last week in London with Gordon out, it wasn't really a bump to Eckler, you know. So if Gordon's out, don't sort of suddenly go, oh, Eckler's definitely a go. Keenan Allen obviously faces a good pass D. He's got a high floor, so you play him. And the rest of the guys, Terrell Williams and Mike Williams, are kind of a bit inconsistent. You could take flyers with them. And that's it. Schepps, you got another game?
It was the Ravens versus Steelers. Alex Collins, right? Who didn't the Ravens just trade for a running back?
Ty Montgomery.
Ugh. All right, so that doesn't matter. Start Alex Collins. I did notice that they're trying to force feed the ball to Hayden Hurst. They are trying to get him targets. So like they're making it a point to get him the ball. So start Hayden Hurst. Willie Snead's been pretty consistent. He hasn't been great, but he's been consistent.
Consistently
so he's a wide receiver 3. Well, I mean,
he
but
dropped some balls last week, Schepps.
He's averaging 5. I'm not saying he's a phenomenal wide receiver, but he's catching about 5 balls a game for about 50 yards, which is 10 points a game. You know, he hasn't really done more than that, but it's a wide receiver 3 status if you're hurt on bye. James Conner, start him every week. Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously. I mean, what else is there to say about the Ravens and the Steelers? It's going to be a slobber knocker. Go ahead.
There's a sneaky start. You might not have heard of Antonio Brown. He's this really talented wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What numbers he wear?
15 or something.
Like
82.
81 or...
in the 80s. Something in the 80s.
Something in the 80s. He's
One
pretty
of those
good.
Good receiver numbers.
Go get him off your waiver wire. Sneaky ass.
You're not worried about James Washington? You're not worried about James Washington taking away his targets? I heard Roethlisberger likes him.
Does he? No
I'm
idea.
kidding.
Anything else to add?
No, I reckon it's just going to be a slugfest. It always is. This is a great game between these two teams.
Yeah.
It's going to live up to exactly that this week.
It's great watching. It's a fantastic game to watch, always. Gee, have you got another game?
I do. I have the Rams versus the Saints.
Oh.
So we'll go to the Saints side first. And look, this could be another game with freaking fly miles on the ball.
He gets the juicy one, this guy. Go ahead.
That's the way it fell, mate.
Are you kidding?
You can
my
always
one,
pop in.
if you think that's good, you wait to hear my one.
Next one's good. So who do you start? We start Drew Brees. He had a bit of a low week last week, especially after I traded for him, and that's when he gives me first week on my lineup. Like, he didn't hurt me, but just I beat the analyst, stuck it to Chris. That was great. So Drew Brees, you're definitely going to start. Mark Ingram, you're going to start.
Of course,
like we keep saying, six teams on buys. Alvin Kamara, a bit iffy, maybe a flex position at best. Definitely a big start. They're a little bit thin at wide receiver when you start to look at. You got Cameron Meredith, Jaquan Smith, Michael Thomas is a definite start. But he seems to get it done with the myriad of just other guys that just bit players, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Drew Brees. Just, I only throw the ball twice to you, but it's enough to move in and give him points down the field. At tight end, Benjamin Watson is someone you obviously look at in the tight end wasteland. On the other side of the ball, geez, we've got probably one of the best offenses going around. And who do not start? Is Cup back this week?
I think so, yes.
So if Cup back this week, you slot him in. Brandon Cooks, mate, you probably have him, as a sort of a flex sort of guy.
Woods.
Would you start? Goffey obviously starting. Missing on the running back.
Todd Gurley.
That's his name. Todd. Hey, is he?
He's not very well known.
Mate, is he not the MVP at the moment? At this mark of the season?
Him or Paddy?
Ooh, yeah, Paddy.
There you go.
Well, Paddy's going to get it because he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's probably MVP, the most valuable player, say, at the moment. If you took Paddy out of the team, that'd be nothing.
Well, they'd give Gurley offensive player.
Then. Oh, yes, okay.
Yep.
Just to make up. Here you go. You can't have
consolation.
Trophy A, but you can have Trophy B.
Yes.
So, mate, the guy is an absolute phenom. So, these starts.
Yep.
And look, don't forget tight end there. I think as far as the tight end goes, I think Gerald Everett's moved ahead of Tyler Higbee, and he's quite an athletic guy. And I think he's going to come into his own eventually. It's a bit hard on this offense.
I mean, he was
unfortunately
2 years ago. He was their top draft pick.
Yes,
so they obviously have interest in him. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
Okay, last game. This is a cracker. I labelled this match of the week, although I reckon your one comes close, G. Patriots-Packers.
It's a good game.
Patriots-Packers.
Do you see what Tom Brady mentioned about Aaron Rodgers?
No.
That if you put Aaron Rodgers in his situation, just how good. Like he believes he's admitted he's a more talented quarterback than he is.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a bit of bro love going on.
What did he say? He'd be throwing for like 7,000 yards a year.
Did he say that?
If it was Brady,
What is that? What is?
I read an
how does that
article
make
now. I
Mike
may be
McCarthy
wrong,
feel?
but I thought Brady said he'd throw for 7,000 yards a game. A year.
7,000 yards a game.
Sorry,
Mike McCarthy has to be like after hearing that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Mike McCarthy. All right. So on the Patriots side, it's pretty simple. Obviously, Tom Brady. Sony Michel is still dealing with an injured knee. Could return. If so, it's a good matchup for him to exploit. It could really pay off. James White, I wrote, hell yes.
Mate, I traded away James White, and he knows who I traded him to, and he's probably laughing right now as I'm saying this.
All the way to the championship, he's laughing.
Oh, he could be very well with him. And I actually traded for him on another league, and I am so happy to have him.
This offseason, man, I went to war with the fantasy football Twitter over James White. Everybody sleeps on the dude. Consistently, even prior to this year, this guy every single week scores at least 14 points. Every single week. And people sleep on him because they draft Sony Michael, they draft this guy, they bring in that guy. It doesn't matter.
No.
There's always a role for James White. And then watch the playoffs. Watch the Super Bowl. Any chance this dude gets in a big game, he balls. Eventually the Patriots are going to realize this guy is a dude. And I don't care. Sony Michael can be healthy. Okay, that's just going to limit James White to about 15 to 20 points instead of 20 to 30. He's startable every single week in PPR.
Yeah.
And, there's a bunch of people out there eating crow now, so I'm pretty happy about that.
He had 10 catches last week against the Bills. 10.
Incredible.
Julian Edelman, coming off a big game, should continue to get looks. He's a classic high-floor player. Fantastic. Josh Gordon, he can make a big play at any time. He's still kind of working on the chemistry with Brady, but,
put down a few last week,
a weird
actually.
situation.
Yeah, he put down a few balls
week.
last week that he should have caught. Would have added to his day.
Yep. And Gronk, obviously playing him. We're still kind of waiting for him to arrive, though. He hasn't really quite arrived.
Talk about him soon.
Yep. On the Packers side, Aaron Rodgers, obviously. He's ramping up for a second half season push, I reckon. It's just kind of the Rodgers style. Aaron Jones, the big question was, does Tymo being gone give more touches to Jones? I think it does, but not as much as you think, because Tymo wasn't taking that much away. The main problem...
The whole coaching staff is awful.
That's the main problem. That's the main
Aaron
impediment.
Jones looks so much better.
Yes.
The coaching staff is bad. The GM is bad. How you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback and only win one Super Bowl is a complete mystery to me.
Yes.
You have to try to not win with Aaron Rodgers. It's awful.
So, you start Aaron Jones. You don't start Jamal Williams. He just doesn't get enough touches, and he's not as good as Aaron Jones.
He actually gets more touches than Aaron Jones.
I know.
And does less with them.
It's criminal. Devontae Adams, King Money, yeah, baby. The other guys, I literally wrote that. So the other guys...
I hope the fantasy football fellas take that and turn that into a drop. You're King Money, yeah, baby. That was perfect.
Randall Cobb, Geronimo Allison, and Valdez Scantling.
There we go.
What?
He mentioned his name.
Valdez Scantling.
Oh, mate, this dude can burn.
Now, he's going to get some
I hope
looks.
he continues to get touches.
Mate, he's he's one of those guys, he's one step behind you, and then he's in front of you, and that's it. It's just, he's in front of you, and then he's behind you, he's just gone.
When he's even,
he's leaving. Exactly.
Yeah.
The emergence of Valdez Scantling is taking away from Allison and Cobb. It's tricky to play them, but you might...
Mate, Rodgers always will throw the ball to the guys he trusts the most.
Correct. And then lastly, Jimmy Graham, he's a tight end as well.
He's killing me. He came so close last week. Like, just reach the ball out, dude. You don't need to reach it out like 3 inches and it was a touchdown, he would have made my day. He would have given me 10 instead of 2.8 or whatever crap he gave me.
And that's all the games, James.
That's it.
That's
okay.
it. Now, we have a segment now, because we are kind of midway through the season. We'll go to you, Schepps, first, because I know you are a bit time poor here. 3 guys you'll ride the rest of the way.
You're rolling with.
You're rolling with 3 guys you won't.
Drive by.
Drive by?
Yeah, just drive by. Now, whether or not what you do when you drive by, totally up to you. They'd probably
Nothing
have
illegal, I hope.
a whole different meaning to drive by in America than they have here.
Schepps, you head us off with 3 guys you're going to ride.
Roll with.
3 guys I'm riding with. James White. He's number 1 on that list. I've been riding with him since last year. I'm going to continue to ride with him because he is a consistent PPR RB2. You can start him every week in a PPR format and feel comfortable. Number 2 is Philip Lindsay. He's just, I don't think he has a challenge for touches there. He's going to get the job done. He's looked good, and the price was perfect. He wasn't expensive at all. So those are 2 value guys, James White and Philip Lindsay. And my last guy is Tyreek Hill, who was expensive, but also I don't think he was getting the amount of respect he deserved prior to this year. So he wasn't being drafted with the top players. He was kind of in that second and third tier, but he's giving you first tier value. So those are the 3 guys I'm riding with. And then 3 guys I'm avoiding: Gronkowski, I'm not touching him; Jordan Howard, and now Golden Tate in Philadelphia. I just think Carson Wentz in that Philadelphia offense isn't Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford and Detroit Lions. They're a more well-rounded offense, and I don't think he's going to get the touches or the looks he got in Detroit. So you can't see him go to Philly and expect him to do what he did in Detroit. That's it, man. Those are my 6 players.
Excellent. Well, okay, I'll give you my things for who I'm rolling with.
Go.
Just keep rolling. Just put that in just for the drop. I'm rolling with Nick Chubb. He's a guy, mate, as we spoke about. He's got Duke Johnson behind him. Did you write Nick? Oh, you did too.
Yeah.
AJ agrees with me, obviously. So with Carlos Hyde gone, obviously. And look, these are the carries that Carlos Hyde had. He had 22, 16, 23, 22, 17, which was a low-scoring defensive game, and 14, which was an absolute blowout loss. So they were just playing catch-up and throwing the ball around the park. And look, as soon as Hyde's gone, he's been given 2 weeks of 18 carries, so they're going to stay 18, up to the 23 that Hyde have. And look, mate, we've seen and we've spoke about before, Schepps, about when he's come out of college, mate, the dude's got some serious potential. He's got some great moves. People forgot all about him when he got injured. We've already witnessed his potential, like in week 1, with the amount of touches that he had. What was it, like 2 or 3 touches for 105 and 2 TDs? He's even shown it now. My other guy I'm going to ride with is someone we spoke about, and I said I'll speak about a bit later in the show, and that is Cortland Sutton. I just think the guy is a baller. He's the type of guy that says, I'm going to go and get that ball, you bitch, and that's what he does.
What?
With now that Thomas has done the Elvis impersonation and he has left the building, the only subtraction in his possible future greatness for the second half of the year, according to me, is the fact that his QB's a dud. But I will give Case a little bit of kudos, and that is the fact that he does throw the ball up and give him the opportunity and allow him to use his best asset, which is going up and getting the ball. And look, with Thomas gone, he was averaging 7 targets a game. He had a high of 11. And I think a lot of those touches will go towards Cortland Sutton. And the other guy on my list I've got is Sammy Watkins. 1, because he's QB. 2, because his tight end draws so much coverage and cleans out the middle of the field. 3, because he's got the freak who just scares the living. You can put the beep in there where the F-U-C-K is meant to go, out of corners and safeties. And look, Sammy Watkins is no longer that guy that is expected to do everything. He's not expected to stretch the field and just get those deep balls and do everything on an offense. He's not that guy. He's working underneath, and with the amount of athletic ability that he's got, he's been used, and Reed's got him using that athletic ability. He's getting yards after the catch. And look, there was times last week in the game that he had linebackers covering him, and that's just absolutely ridiculous against Sammy Watkins, because that is never going to work out for the defence. So that's my 3 guys. I was going to chuck a few sneakies in there, mate. Stick with Tyler Lockett. Mate, the dude every week just seems a way to find how to get behind the defence. And even in his bad week, he still gave you like 12, fantasy points in PPR. And another one, just keep an eye on, DJ Moore. The Carolina Panthers have the easiest run home against passing defences. And they're just starting to get going now. And DJ Moore is a guy that they're getting short passes, and he is just getting yards. So there are a couple of extras just for you. On the drive-by, and just highlighted today, Marquise Goodwin, just, mate, I backed you at the start of the year. I picked you up everywhere. You are gone, shot, done. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't care who your coach is, who the offensive coordinator is. I don't care that it's Shanahan doing the play calling. And, look, that might all change around now with Brader and his dodgy ankle and Musser getting hurt. They might start throwing the ball around and make me look like a complete dill, but I'm not going to be using it anymore. Ricky Seals-Jones is another one. Even in a wasteland of tight ends, I just can't use him because I have no idea what he's going to give me. Look, he's been serviceable at times. The problem is his floor is so low. It is basement. You're actually jackhammering the basement to see how low we can get. Maybe we'll put a well in. It's just terrible. And look, the offense is just so stagnant at the moment. And the third one is on the same team as the red and gold, and he can stand alongside Goodwin, and that's Matt Breeder. And I just think if you have a look at his numbers have been going backwards since the start of the year, basically. Okay, no, Musset might help him a little bit, but he's got that ankle, and that's probably not a good injury to have being a running back. I think you rely a little bit on the ability to run and cut and turn and do whatnot. And look, he's an absolute non-factor in the receiving game, so he's not even going to pick up points for you there. And I think now we're starting to see that the fact that he's only, 5'11", 190 pounds, and the role that he's asked to do is sort of coming to fruition a little bit. He's not coping with that amount of that workload.
All right, three guys. Okay, mine will be quick. There's a little bit of overlap. If we were to draw a Venn diagram, we'd have our three circles nicely overlapping a little bit because... Sorry, I can tell I'm a maths teacher. So, Nick Chubb, I just wrote bring on the chubby goodness. And,
I love it, Chubby. Gotta love it, Chubby.
Gotta love a chubby. And for all the points you outlined, G. Philip Lindsay. Schepps, you outlined it beautifully. He's got a great run home. He actually plays the Broncos play the Raiders in Week 16, Championship Week. Talk about chubby goodness. That's man. And the third one I put down was Manny Sanders. He's getting the lion's share of targets. Now he's a PPR wide receiver one the rest of the way home easily, I reckon.
I'm just
in Denver.
You've got me thinking of Lindsay now, and the chubby and all the action that goes with that, all the enjoyment.
Save that for later.
Yeah, that's right. Three guys I'm doing the drive-by on. Leonard Fournette, he's one of them. They traded for Carlos Hyde for a reason. Things don't look good there. I don't know when he's due back or whatever with his dodgy hammy or whatever it is, but it's like if they wouldn't have traded for Carlos Hyde if they weren't concerned about it, so that's a worry.
I spoke about the hammy. When you look at it, you see him grab the top of his ass or the bottom of his ass.
Yeah.
Mate, is the worst place to do a hamstring.
Golden Tate. So another one of yours, Schepps. Tate, look, he's going from a situation where he led the team in targets in Detroit to one where he's going to be behind Alshon Jeffrey, behind Zach Ertz. Add to that Nelson Aguilar, whose value has taken a dive, but Aguilar will take a few targets away as well.
Don't worry about Nelson Aguilar.
And Dallas Goedert as well. So there's a big lot of targets. The ball's being spread around a lot, and so Tate's, his share goes down considerably. And the third one I put was Doug Baldwin. Too risky, inconsistent. I reckon it's time to move on from him. That's it.
So, gentlemen, and let's make our mid-season Super Bowl predictions. Who do you guys think is going to be making the Super Bowl this year? We need an AFC representative and an NFC representative. You cannot pick two teams from the same conference.
Oh, come on. Who do you think we are? Seriously.
I agree, the Rams, and I think, what a Super Bowl this would be, the Chiefs.
Okay, you got Rams, Chiefs. AJ, who you got?
I just want it to be that.
I think Rams.
That would be a juicy matchup.
I think Rams and You know, I'd like it to be the Chiefs.
Saints.
No, they're in the same. They're in the same division.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same conference, I should say. Now,
Taking the piss out of you.
yeah, I know you are. So Rams. I'm going to go. Say Patriots.
Ooh, I got the Saints and the Chargers, and I got the Saints winning it all. That's my call, gentlemen.
Saints
so now we can
winning it
write
all.
that down. We can add that to our list from the beginning of the year when we made our predictions. So interesting to hear how we all do at the end of the season.
Yeah, it'll be very disappointing. I can guarantee it. But Schepps, thank you so much. It's been great to
Thanks,
have you
bud.
on after a bit of a hiatus. But I know
It's been a pleasure.
Work has really been busy, but it's always a pleasure having you on, mate. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for keeping the seat warm.
Thanks, buddy.
No worries.
We'll get you the good licorice.
All right, guys. All right, I'll talk to you guys. Take care.
Ciao,
Okay,
man.
see ya.
And he's gone. Can we
Right.
talk about him now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Now, Twitter questions, G.
Only comes on when I threaten him with the, I give him the crap, bloody cheap, what is it? What, yellow and black brand, home brand licorice compared to the good Darren Lee stuff.
Well, listen,
Hanging on.
let's just round this out with a few Twitter questions. We had, now this is an interesting one. It's a pity we couldn't do this with Schepps, but we got a question from, now his Twitter handle is 0610, so I'm not sure what his name is. Sorry, but 0610, thanks for the question. Your question was, does any other sport rotate, trade, or change players as often as the NFL does?
I think soccer's pretty, football, I should say, sorry.
Football, like the world game
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
And comment on the effect this has on team performance.
I think it have. I said football.
Yeah.
The world game football. That may have it's a bit more linked together.
Yeah.
Where I think as far as the NFL goes, I think everybody has an individual job, and it's a lot easier and you're more compartmental. What's the word I'm looking for?
Compartmentalised.
Yes. Is that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though?
absolutely.
You're a little bit more like that. So as long as you do your job,
Yes.
it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's not like you're linking. Wide receivers linking up with the quarterback, but you have to be here at a certain time, and this is what you have to do.
Yes.
It's not like you're doing things on a fly, and you have to have like some wide receivers and quarterbacks that play together for a long time just have a sixth sense of where the other one's going to be or what they're going to do on any given moment.
Correct.
I think it's a lot easier just in the NFL to sort of just slot in.
Yeah.
Especially if you're good at what you do.
Yeah, he followed up with a thing which said,
Does that
what
make
other
sense?
business has this kind of employee turnover and remains successful? Which is a good point. And you know what? I'd argue that
look,
some
mate,
teams
a lot of
do it better than others, don't they?
Oh, of course they do.
You look at the Patriots.
Well, they pick the players that suit what
Precisely.
what they do.
And some
Not
some
just the fact that
teams-
they're a good player.
Correct. Whereas some teams do that.
Yes.
Just like, let's go spend some money on good players. Speaking of which, the Raiders are going to have a bucket load of free agency money, which scares me a little bit because they're not the Patriots.
No.
And
And we've already seen what they did with what they had at the beginning of this year.
as well as the draft picks, obviously. So it's like, well, on one hand, you think to yourself, well, you've got a bucket load of
We
money.
had money
You've got a
and-
lot of draft picks.
I'm glad they paid Mac.
Who? They paid him.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
Yeah, that's what you do with a bucket load of free agency money.
No, they only have the money because they didn't pay Mac.
Yeah,
So,
they had the money to pay Mac
No,
at the
they-
beginning.
I
At
don't
the
think they
beginning,
did.
they did.
I don't know about that.
How about we go and spend it on other things?
Yeah, they spent it on other things. That's why. From Billy. Hey, Billy. If you're Kyle Shanahan, is Mullins your quarterback for the rest of the season
Well, why not?
over Bethard?
Well, why not? Let's really see what we have.
He's shown more than Bethard.
Well,
Let's face it.
Mate, Bethard wasn't. Everybody ragging on him. He wasn't that bad.
No.
Last year for
No.
the situation that he was put in.
Sure.
But you got this guy, mate. It's like digging for gold or pan or whatever. You keep scraping away until you find a bit of gold.
Yeah.
Let's scrape away and scrape away.
See what you have.
And let's see what we have in him.
Well, was it Tom Brady, a 7th round pick?
He was. Who drafted him? Did Shanahan draft him?
I presume so.
Well, there's a reason for that, isn't there?
Yeah, well.
You're not just, hey, we've got a 7th round pick. What are we going to do with it?
Throw a dart.
Screw it if I know.
Yeah.
Mullins.
Yeah.
I used to like a bit of Mull back in college. system.
Absolutely.
It rhymes Mullins, Mull. Let's go pick him up.
From Neil Gray. Hey, Neil. how long has Eli got left?
He's gone.
He hasn't gone.
He's gone. No, seriously, he's gone.
It doesn't help that Kyler Letters does stupid things.
Yeah, that didn't help. The arrest didn't help.
No.
He's finished.
End of the season, he's finished.
It shows if you need so much time in the pocket to complete a play,
Yeah.
like he does, and you haven't got the ability to scramble and throw on the run, you pretty much screws the quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't it weird though? As far as if they gave him the arse now, no one would care.
No, they wouldn't.
There wouldn't be the outrage that we had last year.
I was going to say, difference 12 months makes.
Oh, not even. Is it 12 months? Probably would be around about 12 months, wouldn't it?
About this time. Quite an insightful one here, G, from Big Zacco. You know it's coming?
No, I have no idea.
Does the Matty Ice Julio TD party begin this week?
Oh my God, I hope so. I actually think there must be some antibiotics or something out there that can stop the allergy of when the paint turns to a different colour. And it's not even a different colour. It's just got big Falcons written in there. It's still green. The ground's still green. It's not like you're playing the Raiders where it's black.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't, like I said, the only way he's going to get in the end zone is if he catches the ball 20 yards out and runs it in.
Vegas would be running a book on that, wouldn't they?
Oh, they run a book on everything.
Yeah, they do. This is a no-brainer.
There'll be a book when he catches it. It'd be everything, like how far out does he have to screen.
All of that.
Yeah.
From Peter Randall. Hey, Pete, can you... Now, here's a nice one, G, but it requires a bit of forward planning. Pete said, can you foretell next week's drinks of the pod so we can drink along?
Ooh.
And do you know whether the trade window has always been set at week 8?
I don't know about the trade
I don't know
window.
about that, actually.
Sorry.
Might have to look into that. What about the drinks of the pod idea?
I like it.
And then we can put it out.
Mate, we could do that every week.
Get it midweek.
And then you know what we're drinking.
Yeah.
And you can have, a better idea when you bag us for our choices about what we've done. No, I really like that idea.
That's a good one.
We could put that out, on the night before, on a Thursday night?
Yeah.
Or do you want to give more, maybe Wednesday, give people a few days to get down to, Dan Murphy's, I have no idea, liquor bar, no, whatever, people, Bolo, who knows?
Whatever.
Don't go to Bolo on that, they're too expensive.
Are they?
Oh, you can't beat Dan Murphy's.
Oh, yeah, true. From Ben, hey Ben, from our Melbourne League. Might sound crazy, but aren't the 49ers in a worse situation than the Raiders? Let me lay out what he said. They've already moved stadiums. In brackets, disaster. The Shanahan-Lynch combo hasn't improved them much. Uncertainty at quarterback long term.
That's a little unfair for the fact that they lost the starting quarterback.
That's true. And I think Lynch had a great draft. Uncertainty at quarterback long term. DC not up to it, and still lots of personnel to find, and they don't have 3 firsts. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit unfair.
Look, I agree with. He makes some really good points there, and I must admit. Look, as I said, it's not fair to comment on the fact that they lost a starting quarterback. And, mate, is he good enough to be a franchise quarterback?
Well, that's
we don't know.
No, we don't know.
That's a very good call.
We don't know.
Are they in a worse situation? Mate, Derek Carr is terrible.
No, but he was getting laid out.
He was getting laid out, but some of his decisions, and if you go and look on Twitter, Matt Waldman points out some things that why he doesn't like. Not that he doesn't like Derek Carr. That some issues that he had with him, and he lays them out, and they are very good issues.
Okay.
The decisions that he makes when he has time, and when he doesn't have time,
yep, very
well laid out. And what has he really done?
Yeah, I know. But let me put this to you as well.
Do they have the only thing they have going for them at the moment is what? They have a running back that's gone over the hill. They have nothing behind him. They have Martavius Bryant, God, mate, you know what I think of him, but he's just gone to the shitter. You've got Jordy Nelson, who does he actually play for them anymore?
Short term. Yeah. Look,
they don't even use him.
They don't have much.
They got Cook. He's the only player they have.
There's not much there.
Offense.
There's not much there.
And you got draft picks, which are, mate, 50-50. At best.
Of course. But let me say this to you, and I know you'll agree with this. What is the point in going 8-8?
Absolutely none.
There's no point.
No.
Apart from the fact that it kind of, on the coach's resume, they can say they went 8-8, and it pleases the fans a little bit. At the end of the day...
Gruden's record's under 50%.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I mean, career-wise.
No, I don't think so.
No?
But it would. It might be. This
be close.
won't help. But at the end of the day, if you go 8-8, you don't make the playoffs, and you get a first round pick in the middle, which doesn't really help you as much. You know what I mean?
But it's not like he's gone out. It's not like he's gone out and he's grabbed young guys that, okay, they're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be that good now, but they have potential. He's gone out and grabbed older guys who are going to be absolutely useless.
Yes.
Even come now. We're halfway through the suit and they're useless now.
Yeah, I know.
Don't worry about next year.
You won't have any argument from me.
So why don't you go and grab young guys that maybe are just sitting out there on the bubble and they're just not getting a chance because they have a Julio Jones. They have I'm not saying there's anybody at the Falcons, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Look what they've done with Gabriel at the Bears.
You know, I think it would have been much better, in my mind, and as a fan...
And still lose all those games.
Yeah. Fill your team with 22, 23-year-olds... And you
that
might
have something.
Have a 1-7 record, but fans will look at it and go, you know what? We can see this is rebuilding. It's fine. It's all good. But there's a plan.
There is a plan. And the problem is now all these old guys go.
Yeah.
Not only do we have to top up the guys that just walked out of the building because I brought them in because they're freaking old.
Yeah.
Now we've got to go and find the positions of need as well. Plus we've got to make up for all these other positions that have moved.
Yes.
You just can't do it. You can't fill that many positions in a draft.
No.
And like, okay, I have no idea who's out there in free agency, and this pod's going far too long.
It is. But let's wrap it up. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening. Always appreciate you tuning in and giving us a listen. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And cheerio out to Nick Brennan, who I had dinner with tonight, and he said, could you please mention my name? So there you go.
Is he going to give us a listen?
He's going to give us a listen.
Hooray.
He asked me tonight.
Oh,
how do I listen to this thing? Is it live? And I said, no, you don't want to listen to it live.
Was he one of the ones bagging us?
This serious editing.
Was he bagging us?
No, that was my wife.
Okay, we'll say, hang on.
She was giving us yes. That's okay. All right, let's finish it up before I get myself in trouble.
All right.
Saying something I should.
Thanks, everybody. On behalf of G and myself, catch you next time.